Hi everybody, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I'm here to show you a technique. I'm getting my iPad kind of set up to where I can make sure I keep my cards in focus and stuff so that you'll be able to see what I'm doing. But anyway, I just come to you to show you some techniques. And again, I'm Rita Holmes and I sell Stampin' Up, which is a good passion of mine. I invite you to join my Facebook group, which is Stamp Crazy VIP, because there I actually do my techniques every Tuesday, and then I get them on YouTube whenever I get a chance. I do have PDFs for all of my techniques that I do, and this is it right here. It tells you the supplies I used, the directions I did on making the technique, and then the supplies and the directions for the card that I did with the technique. So you can pick that up again over at Stamp Crazy VIP. It is my open stamp group for anybody that has a love for stamping, and you'll see all of my techniques. I've been doing them every week since the middle of April, I think, and you can pick all the different techniques up there, plus see all the videos that you would like to see. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started and tell you a little bit about what I'm going to be doing. This is called Salted Backgrounds. If you can see in the card how the colors have a variation in them, gives them a little bit of dimension. You can really see it in this pretty peacock color right there. But again, it's a very easy technique. It's fun to do. You can make a lot of cards. Here's the one I'm going to be doing tonight. And here's one just in a different color. On this one, I used Moonlight Madness, Bumblebee, and just Jade. And with the coordinating papers and all. And then I decorated the inside of the card. So that is actually that's the first one I did. And then this was the second one. Let me tell you, the colors are Pretty Peacock, Magenta Madness, and Daffodil Delight. And that's the colors I'm going to be working with again tonight. So, which is a lot of these colors right here. If you see my pad, let me just tell you, these are our new in colors, which is Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Just Jade, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider. I had to think about the blue for a minute. But that is the 5 new in colors that's in our new catalog, and I just love my grid paper here. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get started with the technique. Let me lay some white scrap paper down because I'm going to be a little bit messy. And my white piece of cardstock, and I'm going to be using my crafting ink brushes that I bought off of Amazon. Stampin' Up does not carry these, but I really enjoy using them a whole lot, and that's my colors I'm going to be going with tonight. Now I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is going to be my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to ink up my stamps right here. So I'm just going to rub into my stamp pad. I'm going to rub off and then just come in and color my paper. You can do this with sponges, and in fact, this card right here I did with sponges. The other one I did with these brushes. I just like handling these brushes a lot better than I do my sponges anymore. So, and I want to get some nice vibrant color in here of the yellow. So I'm just adding a little bit of color here and there. And I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush out on my paper, because I'm going to be blending my other colors with it. Okay, these brushes you do not have to wash. You just wipe when you're paper until your brush comes clean and you can go to your next color. I will say that I did wash a couple of them because I was using the white craft ink with them, and it was kind of getting all gooey in there, so I had to wash them. But they washed nicely and they dried nicely, so just a heads up on that. Now I'm going to go into my Magenta Madness, which is a really vibrant color. So I'm just going to add some of that, and I'd rather it be lighter and me darken it than get it so dark that I don't want it that way. Okay, I'm going to rub this out now, and then I'm going to go into my Pretty Peacock color. So, I hope everybody's been having a nice weekend this weekend. We had a pretty nice weekend. Well, we had some plumbing issues we had to take care of, and then we had a nice weekend. And I got to see my granddaughter play softball today. She is going to be leaving for college pretty soon, and this is her last year with being able to play softball at home. And it's kind of bittersweet for me because I so enjoy watching the girls play softball. They're okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush out as good as I can. And I like my edges to be a little bit more muted, and how I get that to happen is I'll come back in with my yellow, making sure I have my brush cleaned out. I have ink all over my fingers, which I do that all the time, and then get it all over my cards and stuff. And I know some of you share that problem, so I'm just going to kind of go into my yellow, pick it up ever so softly, and kind of mute these little edges together. I just think that gives them a much softer look. Okay, we are done with that for the time being. And then we are going to move on and do our background now. Trying to get some of the ink off my fingers. I don't want to transfer it to my card. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay out some paper towels. And you need a container, or it's best to use a container to set your cardstock in. You can use a little box. These are just some of the embossing powder things that they're really old. I've had this thing probably 15-20 years. And but I break it out in needs like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to use kosher salt for my background. I've had this box of kosher salt probably about 8 years, and it's still good. The only thing I use it for is stamping, so it's not like I use it to eat with and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to pour some salt, and then I'm just going to sprinkle that all over my card. Okay? And after I do that, I'm going to take a water bottle, and I just have a cheap bottle I bought and put water in it, and I'm just going to, I'm not going to try to saturate this, but I just want to melt some of this salt. So I'm going to let that sit 10-15 seconds at least. You can let it sit more if you want. Once you do that, it's pretty well done after that long a time. And then I'm going to wipe the excess salt off with a paper towel. I think I got it all. And then there's my background that I have. And I hope you can see all the variations in the color from before what we had. Now what I'm going to do, you can take and let this set to the side until it air dries all by itself and use it later. Or like me, I want to use it right now, so I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to heat it dry. When you're doing this, your paper might start to curl on you, and you can, as it dries, now I turn it back and forth, and you can see how wet it is back here. This is just plain Whisper White cardstock. I did do it on the heavier. It didn't change the look of the technique at all. It made the card a little bit heavier is all I saw. So you see how this is curled as it's drying? When I turn it back over and I dry, it'll flatten back out a little bit, so it's easier to work with. So I think I have that all good and dry, that I can use it now. Feels pretty good. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to sit it to the side for a minute, because we're not going to be using it. We are actually going to color our sunflower. So I'm going to take a piece of paper. I marked it with an S. I knew it was my scrap, and I didn't pick up a different piece that I would be using for my card. I'm going to use my Stamparatus, which is right here, to stamp my sunflower, because I want that sunflower image to be nice and bold. So we're just going to stick this in here. Let me get my sunflowers sitting right here. The set we're using is Celebrate Sunflowers, which is this right here, and I'm using this big sunflower. I will actually be using the sunflower, the leaf, and this small sunflower on the inside. So I'm just going to do this down here because I will be die cutting it out. Close the door on this, rub it, make sure I get it a good catch for the adhesive, make it stick. I'm going to use my Memento ink, and I'm going to just ink it up, press, come back out, and I'm going to ink it up again. And if you'll notice that the second time's really going to give it a brighter look. I'll lay that back down, press, and see how bold that is? I'm going to do it one more time. I want that to really be inked up a lot. So I have my nice bright image right there, and I'm going to go ahead and take my leaf with my ink, and I'm going to stamp me 3 leaves. Okay, so we have all of that done. Let me close my ink pad up so I don't make a mess, which is sometimes what I do a lot. Stick my little paper towel. I always keep a paper towel in here because I'm not going to clean that, take time to clean that right now. And then that way it can sit. Okay, now what I'm going to show you a thing. I didn't want to spend a lot of time coloring, so I thought, well, I'm going to color with my craft inking brushes again. So this time I'm going to use this size, and I'm going to color my sunflower with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to get that ink on this inside, and I'm going to go straight to my paper, my cardstock, and I'm just going to color that in with this. And I'm going to get a lot of nice good color, and you see I'm coming outside the lines, but that's okay. It will be fine. I am going to clean out my brush a little bit, and then I'm going to get Melon Mamba out. It's a little bit darker of a pink than the Magenta Madness, and that's going to be where my darker edges are around here. So again, I'm going to get that on the tip, and I'm just going to swirl that in around these flowers. And you notice I've left it really dark, but it's not dark in every spot, and that's okay. And you'll notice I got it in my yellow. That's half intentional and half not. So there we go. Now we have some darker Melon Mambo color. I'm going to get my brush cleaned out of that darker color, because now I'm going to come in with my lighter. And then I will kind of get some of that off. I want these petals light, and I'm not going to worry about staying inside that line, because if you'll notice on my flower here, I did not stay inside the line. You'll see the pink on the outside, and it's okay. I didn't really want that big white edge there on my flowers. This is just a fast way of blending some color if you don't want to use your Stampin' Blends and take a lot of time to color. This is how you get away from that. So there you go. You've got some nice color. Dark spots where maybe it's laying low. Now there is one thing that I do with that. I'm going to take this and get most of that out, and then again I'm going to go back into my yellow, pick up some yellow. I'm going to clean it off a little bit, and I'm just going to brighten this up right through here. There we go. And there's my flower with the lights and the darks. Now I'm going to color my leaves, and I'm going to color those with the Pretty Peacock. I started to say Tranquil Tide, which is a color from a blast from the past, but it was a color I really liked. So let's get all that out of there, all the pink. And I'm going to come into my Pretty Peacock, and I'm just going to, there again, not worry about staying in my lines because I don't want that white edge. Doing the same in here, and I'm starting in the center, so it'll be dark. And then just color my flower out, or my leaves. So there's my leaves. There again, I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm done with my brushes. Now we're going to die cut. I don't know if any of you have the sunflower set and have cut out the die cut with the sunflower, but I did find me a point in it that makes it easy to line up, and I want to show you that. Let me move this a mess. Get my big shot out, and let me get the other plate to this, because I was playing with it last night with something else and didn't use my one plate. So here we go. So now I've got this. I'm going to lay this on my plate. I hope you guys can see this. Let's push that out a little bit. Get my sunflower die. And if you see right here, these little flowers look kind of wispy, like they're blowing in the air. Well, on the die right here, looks the same way. So I know that that is where I can line these flowers up. Just like that. And I'm going to take the leaf and go ahead and do one leaf while I'm cutting the sunflower. Oh, I'm going to have to pick that up. Let's hope we don't mess it up. May have to reposition. I forgot to put my little adapter down there. There we go. Looks good. I'm always ready to okay. A lot of moving around. I hope I kept it straight. I always just roll back because I like working on this side of my big shot. So there's my sunflower all cut out. Here is one leaf. And I'm going to cut the other two out real quick, and then we'll be ready to assemble. Well, we have to cut one more thing, and then we'll be ready to assemble. So let's go to the next leaf. I really am liking this sunflower set. I love sunflowers anyway, and I didn't know if I'd like doing them in different colors besides yellow, but I really did like the pink one, so did I cut that? Oh, I thought it moved on me. It's fine. Scare myself. Scare myself. I need to break out some new plates for this. But you know, I'm waiting for that. Stampin' Up is bringing out a new die cutting machine. It'll actually be available to customers in September. Demonstrators will be able to get it in August, and I want to get it. It's a new machine. It looks like it's a little bit more compact and that, and I'm hoping we don't have to worry about doing so many different layers and different things like that. So I really want to get it. I'm anxious to get it and try it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of Daffodil Delight, and there are two, and I just call these little sprigs that was in with the die cuts, and I'm going to cut two of those out. So let's just sit them in there. These fall out so easy, except for they get hung on the little wispy ends. So there we have all of our die cutting out. Okay, now we're going to assemble this card. So let me set this in the floor out of our way, because I don't like all that in my way. So now what we're going to do, we can bring our background back in, and what I'm going to do, because I just want to make it sturdy for me to put it all together, I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to my piece of Pretty Peacock. I'm going to use Tombow glue because of it being where it was wet and dried with, you know, some I don't want to say bumps in it, but it's just curled some. So I'm going to ink it up really good because I want that to really stay down. So let's put this on here, and it's just, I just did 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. I didn't want a lot to show, but I wanted some. So I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to rub so I can get all of that to adhere to this piece of pretty peacock. When you're working on something that's got like embossing folders or stuff with dimensions or stuff that kind of curl like this, it's best to turn it over and really rub on that and get it nice and flat. Okay, what I'm going to do, we're going to do our sunflower now. So I'm going to place my sunflower here and see, and I think I want this darker part down because that's going to be like where a shadow would be. So that's kind of where I'm going to want that. So I'm going to take one of my leaves. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of it. Just a little bit. I don't need a lot. And I'm going to slide it in under here and just go ahead and glue that down. Then I'm going to decide where I might want my other two flowers here. See how I might want them. I want this to be down just a little bit more. So I'm going to put that. And I think I'll put this one right here. Looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue right on top of these at the edge. Okay? Because what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to bring my sunflower back and I'm going to glue those leaves to my sunflower. And the reason why I did it like that, I wanted them glued here because I want those popped up when I go to put this flower on. Now we're going to bring in the little yellow pieces, and you can decide, you know, you might not want them in the same place I want mine. I kind of like them down here. I think I might angle them up just a little bit. But I want to get them in the vicinity of right here where those leaves were. So I'm just going to add a little glob of glue. Okay. So I'm going to angle that up a little bit, and I'm going to angle this one down. And I'm going to let that sit there just for a second while I put my dimensionals on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I put some dimensionals on my leaves so that they will stay up. And I want to really make sure they get held down. So, and then I will put a few of them, these are stuck together, around my flower because I really want my flower to stand up. So there's all of my I didn't bring my little tool in here to pull these little tabs off. Shame on me. So, and I'm not in the camera very well, but I'm pulling off the little backings of the dimensionals. Since I have so many on here, let's make sure that's all together. And then I can bring my flower in and glue that down. So there we go with that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this on a piece of Magenta Madness, and I'm there again. I'm just going to glue it with my Tombow glue. I'm not worried about getting tons of glue on this one. And I don't press on it until I make sure I have it where I want it. And there we go with that. I'm going to fold my card. And I know you're probably saying, well, you forgot to put your saying on the front of my card. I intentionally am doing that because I'm going to do that with the Stamparatus. And when I was making my sample cards and stuff, I got them all the way made and glued down, and then thought, oh, I wanted to use the Stamparatus to put my saying on because I wanted it to be really bold. And I thought, how's that going to work with my card all the way made? And it works great. And that's why I'm doing it, just to show you that that can be done. And I found out through a mistake, which how I find out most everything I do is through a mistake. Okay, I'm done with the glue, so I'm going to put my glue up. And there we are so far. I'm going to take this little stamp and I'm just going to stamp that on the inside. So, I'm just going to put one right here. And then that would be all ready to write something on the inside. Now I'm going to bring my Stamparatus back in. Let me move my sunflower out of the way. We'll do it this way so I don't get so much ink all over me again, because I'm a very messy stamper. I'm going to make sure that's dry in there. I'm going to go ahead and shut that, and I'm going to anchor my card down. And I'm going to bring, I think I want to make a thank you card out of here. So I'm going to bring in the Thanks a Bunch from the Celebrate Sunflowers. And I'm going to stick it right here. I think that's where I might want that. And so, just trying to make sure I got it kind of straight there. I'll close the door, press on that, make sure I have a good catch with it. I'm going to ink it up. And you see how dark my sunflower is. You know, even with all the coloring in that, you really get to see that black. Well, I want my saying to be dark too. I don't want it to be light like that. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with my sunflower. I'm just going to and I'm going to do that again one more time, and then it's going to be a done card. And that way I get a really good dark image with my with all the color that's going on in the card and stuff. I wanted that to be really bold in there. So, anyway, that's why I did that. I want to close up my thing once again for a minute. We'll set that to the side. So there's my card. I could add bling in that, but I just want this to be my focal point. I really think I'm going to leave it this way. So there's the one that I just made for you to see and to show you. Here's the one that I already had made, and you can see I just put the ink colors on kind of a little differently and stuff to see how that's done. And then here is the one done in some of the new ink colors. So there again, that's the salted backgrounds. All you need is some kosher salt and some water and your inks, and you're good to go to make backgrounds for any kind of stamping that you would want to do. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have, would you please share my video, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I would love for all that, as you know, since April is when I started doing videos, and I'm just trying to trying to get things going here, so any help that you could give me, I would really appreciate it. And I hope to be back soon with another video. Thank you, and bye.